relationshiping show. You have all been asking, where the hell have we been?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
LaDonna Raeh.
and I'm Lorenzo T.
And
Hughes.
check this out. If you want to call in, our phone number is 312-357-5141. We're taking calls live. For real. For real, for real. So I I have to explain our hiatus. It wasn't really a hiatus, but why we haven't really been on this platform in a while. But before I do that, let's tell people what the show is about because they were like, "Who are these folks? We don't recognize. Where did they come from?" Yeah, we got some splaining to do.
Yes, we
So
do.
the relationshiping show, it's two different words. We cut it in half because relationshiping is not really a verb, but it can be. If you think about relationships in many different sectors, it doesn't have to be a one-on-one relationship with your man or your woman or your wife or your husband. It doesn't have to be you and your concubine. It doesn't have to be you and it could be you and your neighbor. It could be you and your children. It could be you and a business partner. Those are all different types of relationships. So, how do you navigate through those different relationships? Well, the climate has changed. That's part of the reason why you haven't seen us because we got a whole lot to talk about and we can never decide what the topic is going to be because there's so much of it.
Mm. Did you say concubine?
I did say concubine.
Oh, okay. Just want to clarify.
I mean, that's a type of relationship, right?
Mm. I guess so. I guess that would fall into the category of side chick.
No,
I guess.
no,
Sorta.
no. Don't have me look up the
Side
definition.
chicks.
No, no,
Okay.
no. It is merely someone that you're in a relationship with and you're not married to. Sorry, ladies.
Hmm.
You what? You why do you have
So
that
if you
look on
have
your
more
face?
than one, what does that mean?
That means you a hoe. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm here in the United States of America, the type of relationship that is promoted and indoctrinated and part of our culture has been monogamy. Okay. So monogamy, I'm sorry, did I blow your eardrum out?
No, I was just thinking, at least, hoe gets paid,
Uh,
right?
well, technically, okay, let me go back to what I was talking about, monogamy, and I'll come
Okay,
back to
yeah,
that,
that's good.
right? I got my fingers
Moving on,
crossed, so I don't
moving
know.
on.
So monogamy is what we expect as most people, and some people are settling, in my opinion, for polygamy. Okay, but that's not the topic tonight. Going back to the hoe that gets paid, and I'm sorry for using the word hoe, but Santa says it.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Right. Santa says it. So those people, the sex workers that get paid are it's a different element.
Entrepreneurs.
They are definitely some of them are entrepreneurs and some of them work for someone else, which is known as their sex worker executive director. The pimp, okay? I'll just say it. And shout out to those sex workers out there because I listen to how people have talked about and diminished the character of people who chose that career or that life,
Profession.
the profession. And but these people are still people. No matter how much you look down on individuals, we are not going to tolerate or even let our kids think it's okay to become bullies because someone is doing something that you don't approve of. And that brings me to the current administration. The current administration is kicking ass and taking names. Okay? People are losing their jobs, they're losing their contracts, they're losing their minds, they're losing their freedom. But some even dead people are losing their finances. Did you watch the president's address from last night?
Yeah, I watched it live while at the gym, so I wasn't able to really just engage myself in it, but I did catch the replay.
Mm-hmm.
I caught the replay.
And when you caught the replay, there was a lot of catching to do. I want to start at the beginning. At the beginning of the president's address last night, there there was some drama already starting. Okay, so don't forget you can call in at 312-357-5141. Save it in your phone. I say that even on the Wake Up Show Chicago. Um, Call in and give us your opinion. But watch this. Last night, Donald Trump took the stage for his address to Congress. But before he even spoke, as he was walking down the aisle and high-fiving all the Republicans, and they were looking like they won the lottery. I mean, they were, yeah. And the Democrats were looking like it was election night all over again.
Like they just got evicted.
Like
Literally.
Like they just got evicted or whatever the case may be. But last night was so full of drama. But if you took notes, if you look in the first few minutes of even when they introduced him and he's walking down this aisle with the divide between the Democrats and the Republicans, there is a moment where Melanie Stansbury, Democrat, okay, she's New Mexico, Democrat of New Mexico. She had a sign which is considered a protest. Even though she was minding her own business, I should have made a sign that said what she said. It said, "This is not normal." That's what her piece of paper said. It was a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It wasn't a big sign. It wasn't something she went to Kinko's. Shout out to Kinko's because they're gone. But she didn't go to FedEx and get this printed. She didn't get a banner. It wasn't retractable. It wasn't a T-shirt. But she had a sheet of paper where she said, "You know what? This is not normal." And
I saw that.
Yeah.
Me personally, I wonder if she would have had it on her shirt, what would he have done?
Well, you got to get to the he, because what happened to that note she had, that protest sign that she had?
The note, she should have had it on her shirt. Because like this stuff for me is really entertaining. Like you can't write this stuff. And even whenever I watch anything that has to do with a Trump presentation, you're going to be entertained by it. Well, at least I'm going to be entertained by it. And this was entertaining because I was curious as if she would have had a shirt on, what would he have done? Would he have tried to close her jacket? Then she could have been like, "Oh my gosh, he groped me. Oh my gosh, he did X, Y, Z," or what would have taken place?
And
then
by he, we're talking about Representative Lance Gooden. He is a Republican of Texas, and he decides to snatch the paper out of her hand and literally throw it into the air, and it fell right in front of Trump, which someone was trying to like shield him from, because people are on alert when things fall around Trump. After looking at that for about 5 times, I'm surprised that nothing happened. Had it been the other way around? So the question came up, right? We had a conversation, Lorenzo. Had that been a man, would he have snatched that out of her hand, out of his hands?
That I would like to have seen that. If that would have been even a man, would he have done the same thing?
Question number 2. If it was the other way around, if it was a Democrat that had snatched it out of a Republican's hand, whether it be man or woman, what would have happened? I think there would have been a January 6th on March 5th. I think they all would have jumped that Democrat. So what say you guys? What do you think would have happened? Put it in the comments. What do you think would have happened if Melanie Stansbury was a man? I'm talking about, what would Lance do? Would he was, and he saw that sign and he snatched it. She didn't change her composure one bit. She continued to she was very stoic, and she stood there unmoved. So shout out to her, but I'm almost thinking, why are we so celebratory when people are keeping their composure when it comes to Democrats? And why are they so celebratory when they act like animals? They're not like us.
the song said. They're not like us. Thinking about that, I mean, you ask a very interesting question because I'm listening to it. I'm listening to people. USA, USA. I'm listening to I listen to how we worship the United States of America, the Pledge of Allegiance, and and I think about the name. I think about and you guys have heard me say this before. Names and words are very important because names and words can be used to indoctrinate, to sway people's way of thinking, and all these different things if the words are strategically put together properly. Let's look at a dynamic here. We look at the United States of America, the state in which we grew up pledging allegiance to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Standing up for the flag, a flag that we, in the same breath, we say never treats us fairly or is discriminatory or racist or whatever the description we may use.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it really the United States or is it really the divided states of America? If you was to really give it an honest definition, would it be called the United States? Do you see unity? When you look at America, do you see the definition of unity? And are the states united? When you look at all the borders in the United States, as we want to call it, all the different borders, all the different laws and policies and belief systems and isms, when you look at the United States, is it really united or is that just a deception that we're being fed? Because when you start to really look close throughout the history and what's going on right now, is the name United States just one of the many parts of the deception that we're being fed?
Well, you have to understand that the founding fathers of this country, well, the self-proclaimed founding fathers of this country named it the United States. So because I think we're the only country that has cities and states, they came up with the name United States. So we were all supposed to be united, but I do believe we started off divided because you had the northern United States and the southern United States.
Northern region, the southern region.
Exactly. So there was never any unity. It's all a facade. So if that's a facade, what else is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that question. And when you start to ravel through all the tape, and you start to, it's almost like when you look at the things that we're being fed, it's almost like trying to untangle some fishing line. If you had a big wad of tangled up fishing line, it's trying to untangle that, and you wonder why when we get into politics and cultural differences, why we can't find solutions. Because I don't think it's meant to. I don't believe that it's meant to have solutions to that problem. For example, when we look at what we saw, we had Democrats on one side, Republicans on another, and that goes back into the division again. How do you call yourself the United States when you're probably the most divided culture of people on the planet?
Mm-hmm.
So. And you look at how we treat each other. We treat each other with division, and that's not unity. So it's an oxymoron that we have going on here. We're the United States of America, but our behaviors, our actions, and our words don't represent the name that we give ourselves.
Right. So there was another incident that happened, and that's when Representative Al Green, Democrat Al Green of Texas. Okay, so Texas had it going on last night. He gets thrown out. Now, as I didn't watch that 5 times because I couldn't really make out what he was saying. But I did witness that he insisted on saying what he said. Now, in my mind, I know everybody's like, good for him. He stood up to, but was that the time or the place to do it? Because I'm thinking, no matter what he said, he was removed. And he didn't get to hear the rest of the address. And maybe he didn't want to. But even after several warnings that he would be removed, he continued to speak out. And I'm not saying up, I'm saying out. And the reason why I say that is because if you don't have the floor, then you're talking out of turn. Now, look, you all may hate me after this. I really don't care because I'm really saying this for a reason. You have individuals that get on the mic and say this stuff. Now, we need to hear what's being said. We don't need to be told, and it doesn't need to be reiterated or repeated. We need to hear it in real time. So if you're going to take a stance, if you're going to stand up, if you're going to speak out or speak up, make sure you have a mic in your hand at all times. This is what I'm saying to everyone. Otherwise, you suffer the consequences for what? Now, I forgot who that was that called Obama a liar during his address. He wasn't thrown out. But did you see the hand signals that Trump had? He pointed forward and he pointed to the right to say, get him out of here. And you can play this over and over again. Get him out of here. And Secret Service or whoever, Sergeant in Arms, they have to take action. And it was warned before this happened. And our Speaker Mike Johnson had already, he had made these warnings, and then he ordered security to remove him after he kept up with what he wanted to say. Right, and I'm speaking carefully because I'm like, but there's a fine line. It's like, yeah, I applaud what he did, but how he did it is where I'm like, okay, they already said that's what's going to happen. Now, I don't know if he really wanted to go home and get some rest. I'm just really not, I'm breezing over this. But you knew that was the next step. And did what you say even get heard? It got dismissed.
And sometimes you have to choose your battles. You don't. I would say that we don't necessarily know what message he may have been trying to push
right
in front of a live audience. Sometimes when you choose to go to an event like that and be disruptive,
right,
you could possibly be trying to send a message on live television. I'm not too sure what that could have been. But on the same token, if we're trying to convey a message, at some point you have to understand or use diplomacy, a diplomatic way of delivering that message. In the same breath, you have to look at the storming of the Capitol. Nobody removed them, but again, we live in the society that we live in where there's biases and racisms and all type of isms out there. You don't know what's going on in the mind of those who are in leadership. And right now we're in a Republican led leadership right now. And we have to strategically deal with the situations at hand that are presented in front of us. We have 4 years ahead of us.
Well, we have 4 years if he doesn't get impeached. We have 4 years if a Republican doesn't succeed him. We have 4 years if this goes the way we want it to go. But now I want to go into what he spoke about, because there were some things that I was like, okay, and I don't want to say, okay, if he's telling the truth. I don't want to do that, because it's not about if he's telling the truth. How will we keep our leaders accountable. They all say, I'm not going to raise taxes. And then they raise taxes. They all say what they're not going to do, and then they do it. Or they say what they're going to do, and they don't do it. We don't hold them accountable. So,
well, we've seen a track record where Trump said if he said he's going to do something, he has done it.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Now, when we look at the opposition, and I hate
Not
to
so
say
much.
this, not so much,
Right.
except around voting time. Oh, yeah, we're going to do that thing that we said we were going to do 4 years.
What was it again?
3 years and 11 months ago.
Yeah. What was it again? Remind me.
So when they want our votes, but see, that's old school politics. I'm gonna lie to the people and let them, give them what they want to hear so I can get their vote. And so, but again, I do want to get into some of the things that Trump did mention, because there's a lot of things that I agree with.
Yes.
I'm not ashamed of that. that you listen. There's a lot of things that I did agree with, and it's unfortunate that you look at the Democrats over there pouting. You cannot tell me. You know what? If they didn't agree with anything that he said, that is an evil group of people. I'm just leaving it at that.
They didn't even clap when he honored DJ, the little 13-year-old boy.
This is I'm not going to even say it's all Democrats, but that group that was there, that was an evil group of people. I'm just leaving.
I don't want to say that they're evil. I want to say that they're disgusted.
Listen,
but I do want to. Okay,
I've had conversations with people who I had a conversation with a friend of mine who worked at UPS, and he was. I discovered that he was a big supporter of the whole Confederate leadership, and we had conversations. I remember one time he said, he was talking about I would never date a black woman and this and that, and we had our differences, and I wouldn't necessarily say he was racist, just because he had his preferences, but it was a time for me to kind of pick his brain, to pick somebody's brain who was open and honest about how they felt about certain things. Now, when you have the ability to at least sit down and listen to your opposition, it takes a certain level of maturity. When you choose ignorance over knowledge, then you fall victim to a lot of things that you probably should have allowed yourself to be aware of, and you choose not to be educated about what goes on in the lives and the minds of other people. That's a choice that you make. So then, when you don't allow yourself to be educated beyond your own thinking, I think that's ignorant in itself.
I do agree. It is ignorant. But you have to, a lot of times we'll cut our nose to spite our face. And that never works. It never works. But I really want to dive into what was said.
Yeah, let's do that.
The removal of DEI programs. Most of you have heard this over and over again. DEI. And this was actually written it was an executive order that was written back 60 years ago by President Lyndon Johnson. And it was to give the opportunity of contractors to have the opportunity to access contracts by the government. Okay. So because this has been rolled back, we're going to look at the fact that was a small percentage. I believe less than 4% African-American businesses were getting selected for these contracts during this DEI policy anyway. But I want to know why, and I ask this all the time, why was a DEI executive order that is supposed to keep the balance of fairness since, the beginning of time, why was it not signed into law? Why was it an executive order for 60 years? But at the same time, hear me out, people. This could be a good thing. Because I know he said based on merit. We all, okay. How long are we going to say 60 years ago, it was not based on merit. Why can't it be based on merit 60 years later? Okay. So back then, we may not have had the technology to keep track of certain things. We didn't, but we had the information, and we had the experience, we had the background to prove that we could overall be well more than qualified.
Mm-hmm.
But now in 2025, people, this could work in our, not could, this will work in our favor because we have technology, we have access. See, back then we weren't allowed in certain places anyway. Now we are allowed just about everywhere. Okay. So that's been lifted and changed. So it's up to us to get our foot in the door. Build your relationships. You got to build relationships. Anytime you can pick up the phone, like for instance, the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. If you're a member of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, they will fight for you. Not with the boxing gloves and the nunchucks. They will fight for you picking up the phone, writing letters, and getting stuff done. Those are action takers. So when you build relationships with people like that, then your DEI doesn't really matter. It's like you can probably get more without the glass ceiling. Okay? So build your relationships. This gives us some homework because with DEI, we would check all the boxes and then say, "Okay, because I'm black here." But did you build your relationships? Probably not. People, I'm not making this up. This is conversation across the board. I have talked to people. We are not building relationships. All right. So that's the removal of DEI that he talked. Well, that's not what he talked about. That's what I'm talking about. But go ahead.
When did they start that? Let me see. Let me see if I can look that up.
60 years ago.
Is it 60 years ago?
Yes.
So 60 years ago.
So 1965.
So the question we have to ask then, or I would have to ask, is what were we doing
before
in
that?
those 60? No, in those 60 years.
Oh yeah.
What were we taking advantage of during that time? When we get these type of opportunities, right? I'm always curious. Okay, we got an opportunity for, let's say it's for 4 years or 5 years. What are you going to do in that 4 or 5 years with the expectations that that opportunity may go away? What are you building at that point?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say what are we building, are we building Black Wall Streets?
Mm-hmm.
Are we building collaborative relationships with other cultures? Or what are we doing? Because now that we look at them rolling this back, right? And now we realizing that we never built a Black agenda during that whole time. We're sitting around wondering what the heck happened. We haven't developed any relationships across the waters, across the oceans with anyone. We have no one to run to. So
nobody's coming for us.
Nobody's coming to save us. Matter of fact, we're still in a position where we have to worship the person that we accuse of discriminating against us. We're still in the same situation that we've been in since we can remember. We didn't build anything. We didn't build any relationships. We didn't build any allies. We didn't build any Black Wall Streets. And I've said this before, being in the city of Chicago, this is my I'm almost about 2.5 years now. I don't understand how Atlanta became the Black Wall Street or the Black, Mecca before Chicago did. It's like, what happened? Mm-hmm. It's like, how did that happen? So, I hear business owners talk about having these Black Wall Streets. When I drive around and I'm in the city of Chicago and I see all these Black businesses, to me, coming from, I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, moved to Kansas City in 93, 3 where you see when you got to drive across town to find certain black businesses, and you move to a city where you got black businesses that are next door to each other across the street. Matter of fact, you maybe have a whole street of black businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder what's going on when somebody talks about, or you hear someone talk about there needing to be a black Wall Street in a city where there's black businesses everywhere, from what I've seen. And again, not growing up here and growing up in cities where, black businesses were few and far between, I mean, like it. So is either there's a wedge in the ability to develop relationships with each other. There's a wedge driven in the ability to collaborate and network with each other. Something's going on.
Oh, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and it's in Chicago, yes. But we have not had a good connotation when we even speak about each other. Black business, this black. It never rolls off the tongue with positivity. So why would if we don't want to do business with each other? Then why would anybody else?
Well, I think what has to happen is we have to go within our relationships with each other with a fine-tooth comb. We got to find all the Sambos.
You got to find
all the hopping bobs.
All the hopping bobs.
And what was his name on Django?
I don't remember his name, but Hoppin' Bob was from Life, for those of you that didn't know.
We got to find those folks, and we got to get them out of our relationships. We got to get them out of our community and set them aside. And those people who want to develop relationships with each other and collaborate and build amongst each other have to come together. But we have to be unapologetically tight, but unapologetically serious about our relationships with each other. And sometimes you got to kick people out.
Right.
Just because a person looks black don't mean they're black.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I truly believe that white really isn't a color. It's a mindset. It's a way of thinking.
It's a behavior.
But
so is black.
And we really have to, if we are serious, we really have to be unapologetically serious about who we allow into our tribes. Well, it just is.
Speaking of allow, Trump also talked about banning men from competing in women's sports. Now, he featured the injured volleyball player, Peyton McNabb. It was an unfortunate situation where a transgender woman played volleyball, smashed the ball into her face, and partially paralyzed her on her right side. And because of the strength and the overpowering, and this has been going on for a few years now, where individuals are transcending or transgender. The transgender women, is it transgender women? I guess so. If you were a man and now you want to be a woman, right?
Right.
Okay, look, I'm going to tell it like I see it in my mind. How ridiculous it is to say now you can compete in women's sports because your agility didn't change, your molecular structure didn't change, your muscle mass didn't change. You are still a man.
If you don't have a uterus or ovaries, you are a man.
Well,
point blank.
Even if you didn't have, some have had it removed. But my point is,
this doesn't mean that you won't be treated like a human being. This is not an attack on how a person claims they feel on the inside. I don't even really want to touch that because for me, nature is the defining factor. Mm-hmm. Can you or can you not reproduce yourself?
Well, but really,
that's the defining factor for me. Can you reproduce who you are?
But do women, and you spoke about this earlier, I can't take credit for this. Transgender women are playing in the women's sports, but transgender men are not playing in the men's sports.
Right. Right. You're absolutely right.
Okay. So
Because
when you brought that up earlier, I thought about how fucked up that is, because now it makes you think and go, that's because as a woman, even though you feel like a man, for a
you can't
fact
compete on that
that you
level.
won't be able to compete on that level. But it takes me to the men, or the men who have transgendered into women, to say, now I can break world records
And they're just like
in a cycling marathon
with their medals.
by 5 hours. And I looked it up because, you got to fact check Trump, okay? This has all been fact checked. Like, wow. 5 hours? Okay.
What event was that?
That was a cycling
Cycling?
competition. Yes. 5 hours. And he kept saying
had a
it
chance
even.
to go.
You know how he goes,
grab a
5
drink,
hours.
cool down.
Right. He probably won
smoothie.
and was like, all right, can I can I get fries with that shake? My point is, this is ridiculous, and I'm glad that that's coming to an end, because I don't think that the women's rights that have been fought for all of these years, all of this time, should be crapped on by an imbalance or an unfair advantage of having a transgender woman now compete, because transgender, changing your sex, does not mean you've changed the person you really are. It means you cut something off and put something on, but it does not mean that your whole molecular structure and DNA and sample of blood will produce that you are having estrogen or testosterone, and that therefore you should not be on that level of integration. And I'm sorry I said it. No, I'm not sorry I said it. I had to say it, because I've dealt with some things that I don't think is a fair thing when it comes to even the school system, where you've got situations where people are using their protected status as a weapon. And I've said this before. And me as a parent, I'm being told, you don't want to fight that fight. Excuse me? Why not? This is my child.
When that again, we live amongst cowards, unfortunately. People, it's like, what it's like to me. It sounds like when you hear people say that, it's like when you watch people who sit in the stands and they watching a boxing match or a football game,
And
that
saying,
sit there and
"Just get
talk
up."
about, they talk about what the players should have done, what the professionals should have done, and how they should be playing the game, when they are the ones who bought the ticket and are watching the game and probably never played the sport before in their life, or wasn't that good at
And
it
may not
when they
even know the
did play,
rules.
and they want to be the ones talking about what the players should have or should not have done. And and those people they get on my nerves. So I mean, if you're gonna be a spectator, be a spectator and just watch the game. Shut up and just enjoy yourself, and let the people who have the confidence and the ability and the strength to play the game, let them play the game. Even in politics, let those people who have the strength and the confidence, let them play the game, and just be silent.
Yeah. Well, speaking of playing games, Social Security fraud. Okay, so this is supposedly credit to
that one.
the Doge Doge agency that is run by a South African by the name of Elon Musk. But now I gotta give it to him, because if you're finding that first of all, he mentioned that there was a whole elevator shaft that went down to a mine where they were storing Social Security papers and documents. That's weird to me. But watch this. Millions of Americans, this is Trump has claimed that millions of Americans that are over the age of 100 years old are still living and collecting Social Security. I thought it was a joke. I thought he was joking. He also said that there are some of the over 1,000 of Americans are over the age of 220 collecting benefits from Social Security. Still collecting checks, which is I think the highest age was older than the country's age. So, and higher than and older than when Social Security even began. So, what is their Social Security number? Like 0000001?
Right.
Like Jesus is getting a Social Security check. So, that right there is millions of dollars that has been going out to people and possibly, obviously, generations of people. And they're not saying a word. They're just cashing the check and keeping it moving. Cashing the check and keeping it moving. Yeah. That's fraud for real.
And we pay taxes on that.
Yeah.
You know, we pay taxes on that. I think with this Doge, this Department of Government Efficiency, I'm suspecting that Elon is going to build some type of super computer, whatever, to put that all in some type of data system, instead of having to go down an elevator shaft to some underground warehouse with I don't know, was it miles of of columns and rows of tax documents. And so I'm interested to see how that's going to work out.
Yeah. Well, it's already working itself out because you know, you kind of feel sorry for these people that have been collecting these checks, and then you don't, because you're like, they knew better. They knew that that great grandma was gone. And
so now this is the scary part, you know, thinking about that.
Yeah.
Are they going to grandfather it where
right.
if, let's say you decide to stop cashing the checks and they say, well, look, this person been dead 120 years and this number of checks have been written out and have been cashed. Are they going to go back and prosecute or go after the person?
Yes, retroactively charge them. They're going to have to pay that money back. Trump is already making Zelensky pay money back. So why wouldn't he have people that have been involved in Social Security pay that money back? You know, and it's like, dang, I truly believe that most of those checks are fake. I believe that those are fake individuals.
That could be.
Yeah, they're fake individuals. They never existed. Someone filed for Social Security, got through. Somebody wasn't on their job. My grandmother used to say that. Somebody wasn't on their job. Well, somebody wasn't on their job a million times possibly, where some of these checks went through the system and they never got reported as being suspicious.
It wasn't suspicious after 150 years?
Well,
I think the oldest one, what was it, 300?
Yeah, it went up to
the oldest one was like 300 years.
300 and some years, and then over I know it was over 220 for sure.
Yeah, I think it was.
But this is ridiculous. Like, you don't think about stuff like that. And I know people that are in Social Security. They're getting Social Security attorneys because they're getting denied. They're getting denied, and 300-year-old people are still getting Social Security.
That's interesting.
I don't know if it's that interesting. I think, in my opinion, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And they went after so many people who got PPP loans. I believe they put them out there just so they can go after them. And you got people on Social Security? Come on now. Let's talk about that. There's he also talked about the tariffs. Now, a lot of you may not even deal with tariffs. My first encounter with tariffs was when I started a company with my kids. They were then 4 and 6 years old. We were selling selfie sticks. They were $35. We sold them for $35 and people were buying them. My entire garage, my living room was full of them. Like we had ordered so many of them. We bought a little, they tested well, and then we bought more, and then we bought more. And my kids would sell them. But in order to get them from Shenzhen, I had to pay tariffs. And I'll never forget, the tariffs were based off of the value of my purchase, and it was quite a bit. And I was like, but they only cost you 10 cents to make them, you know? So, yeah, tariffs can be a trip. You know what I really want to say.
Mhm.
But the other thing that, if you look into tariffs and how they work, is when we get something, when we purchase something from as the United States, when we purchase something from another country, they charge tariffs that can be 4 times the amount. 4 times, but we're not charging that when they're getting things from us. And I know what you're thinking. What are they getting from us? We got made in the USA stuff. Okay, we have, obviously, we have foods, we have goods, we have raw materials, we have steel, we have a lot of items that are going over to other countries, and we're charging, I want to say, a budget tariff.
I would like to know what we have going over to other countries other than weapons, mass destruction. I would like to know exactly what that is.
Well, look
I
it
hear
up. I
it,
just rattled it off, but yeah, look
but
it up.
steel.
Yeah, that's part of the weapons.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah,
You
look it up.
Let's see.
So, with that being said, Trump said, "Hey, we need to reciprocate these tariffs. You charge us 4 times, we're going to charge you 4 times." I was like, "Whoa, what did he say? Back that up." It's only fair. And what this hopefully will do, now this is just in my own imagination, because I'm not a tariff expert. I just dealt with it as, a business. But I didn't like dive in and study it. And no, I was like, I got to pay the tariffs. I got to pay the tariffs if I want my product. The product was so cheap. But the tariffs, it's like, dang, I may as well just get it from over here. Well, it can be a deterrent. It can also be, if we're going to charge what they charge, it can drive their tariffs down. Wait, we don't want to pay that much. Then don't charge that much. So it can drive their tariffs down, but it can also deter them from even shopping with us in some cases. So this can have many different effects. If other countries tax us, we tax them back.
I'm looking at this list.
Yeah, what's the list say?
And I'm like, I could see why we probably colonize other countries like Africa for gold and diamonds. I'm looking at this is what we got. United States top exports include gasoline and other fuels, crude petroleum, liquid natural gas and other natural gases, civilian aircraft parts, passenger vehicles, refined petroleum oils, petroleum gases, electric integrated circuits, pharmaceuticals, cotton yarn, toys,
Cotton yarn?
mineral oil, lubricants, steel, tea, sugar, coffee, wheat, corn, soybean, aeroplane, computers, paper, machine tools required for different industries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all of those things all of those are necessity, especially the fuel. Okay. Now there is fuel, there's oil, should I say, in other countries.
That's one thing. We're not an export of that.
Right. We're not an export of that, but we have fuel
or diamonds,
here. Right. That's right.
or gold,
Mm-hmm.
or platinum, lithium.
Yeah.
That's the valuable stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, people, it's only fair. It's like, why are we? And this could be why the United States is the laughing stock. Because it's like, oh, we've been making all this money.
So, this might be a little off topic, but how do you claim to be the richest country in the world with the
Highest debt?
the highest debt, but you don't export the most valuable natural resources? Like, is that it goes back to what I was saying when we were talking about the deception.
Who said we were the richest country?
That's the stereotype.
No.
That's the stereotype.
That's the marketing message. That is
Or
the
you can call it
self-proclaimed.
so if it's a marketing message, who markets it?
The USA.
Then that's who said it. Then.
Right.
You asked me a question, who said it?
Yeah, I'm just waiting
So
on you to say it.
that's what they market themselves.
Absolutely.
You
That
know,
is what it's marketed as.
So and I find it very interesting that for years we've labeled Africa as being the poorest country, but they're the richest
continent. Let's
continent.
Correct you. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the poorest continent, but they have all the riches that every country. If they're the poorest, why is everybody trying to colonize and take over their natural resources?
Now, I want to define poor. I want to set this record straight right here, right now. What you think is poor, not you, but what you deem as poor is not always poor. Just because someone lives in a hut with a dirt floor doesn't mean that is the diaspora throughout the entire continent. That is their version of being having less resources. But they don't have to go to Walmart. We are completely dependent on a grocery store. We are completely dependent on an Amazon truck. They are not. They can grow whatever in their backyard. Tell me who's poor. I can't grow anything in my backyard. I don't know how. I'm not in the right climate. I don't have the right cultivating skills. Who's poor? So you may see these kids with the flies on it. That bothers you. Them kids are not fanning anything. Hey, I'm just saying, it's, stomachs do swell when you're hungry. And there may be, of course, there's that in certain situations, but that's here. We got a high rate of hunger here in the United States. That's the richest country that's sending money to another country to fight in a war when we got our own situation going on here. I think he read off where there's an education program going to some other country way over east, and I can't remember what it was. I didn't write that one down. When we have an education problem right here in the United States, if not right here in Chicago, millions of, or was it billions?
And that was
millions of dollars that add up.
And that was under which administration?
It's been in place.
For how long?
Forever, ever. Democrats get in office and they add layers. They add policy. They add executive orders. But have you even taken a look at what's been in place? And see, this is what I said about the migrants that came to Chicago. Number one, everybody was up in arms. Oh, why these migrants are coming to Chicago? Oh, we got homeless people right here, and they're gonna put them in a shelter, in housing. Guess what? I said, stop that right there. The reason why they put them in housing is because the homeless people that's been homeless in the shelters, what did you do about that? Did you go to your Congress? Did you go to your alderman? Did you go to any type of legislation and say we have to do something about this homeless system of people that are right here in our city? No, you kept dropping off coats and hats and gloves and shoes and boots and blankets and soup kitchens and volunteering because the system that was in place was the system for these people. You didn't shake it up. So when they show up in busloads, they shook it up. They dropped them off right at the police station. Police is like, whoa, you can't. Well, what do we do, sir? Be right back. Well, technically, according to we can't, it's asylum and seeking asylum and seeking asylum. So they had to stay there. I watched them. They had barbecue. Kids were running around.
Yeah, I saw the food trucks.
Outside, I didn't even see the food. I saw
saw
they
the food
had tables set up. They had blankets. Everybody looked like they were just waiting, and they were. They were waiting and got vouchers, and everybody got mad because they had vouchers, food stamps for thousands of dollars because they hadn't gotten anything for months. And you say, well, why didn't they? They don't need anything because this is our country. Well, if this is your country, what did you do for the people that have been homeless for years? The people that have been sleeping in tents for years. Tent City has been over there. It's gone now. But Tent City has been over there. I mean, I didn't do anything either. I took them hats and gloves every year. Me and my kids walked through the rat-infested Tent City to drop off hats and gloves. But what did I do to help them? Nothing. So I'm guilty too. So don't complain that the migrants came and got what and now you didn't shake up the system.
Well, yeah, it's.
I forgot how we even got on that topic. My bad. Because the next topic is something different. I'm sorry.
It's okay. What's the next topic?
New tax write-offs. Interesting. For vehicles, so tax write-offs on the interest that you pay for vehicles made in the USA. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, I don't want a Nissan. I mean, I don't want a Chevy. I don't want a Ford.
That's
yeah,
cool.
but
you don't get the tax write-off.
Well, I'm just saying, no, that's not true.
With the foreign vehicle?
It says vehicles made in the USA.
Oh, okay.
So even if it's a foreign country, they can have a plant right here. Indianapolis will be getting a plant from Honda.
Yeah, I remember. I do remember.
So isn't that made in the USA?
Theoretically, yes.
It is.
Yes.
And the VIN number will tell you where it was made. The VIN number will tell you what year it is, what year it was where it was made, and what plant it came off of.
But that's the thinking of a businessman in office.
Absolutely.
That's business thinking. So I mean, that's smart.
No, we just lost a viewer because we said he was a businessman. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry.
Come back. Come to the light.
Come to the light. Now, again, I will say this, and I'm not going to say this all the time. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not. But I am in this country. He is the president. And yeah,
I agree. And that's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Were you a Biden supporter?
I'm a supporter of good policies.
I am too. There you go.
I don't care what you think about it.
Now you sound like independent.
I'm an independent. I vote for who I believe is going to be best, for the office.
Right.
And I support good policy making regardless who's making the policy. And so that's me.
All right, cool. So now.
Oh, what I did like though.
Okay.
Was he wasn't going to tax tips.
Yeah.
And overtime. He did say that.
I was like, man, I wish I had a real job for real.
On overtime?
I know. Because the more you make, the more they take. That goes away for now.
I would love to know what that's going to look like.
I know. I want to go work somewhere and get overtime.
When I was at FedEx, I was working like 65 hours.
So how does that look for the employer? Because they have to pay taxes on each employee's wages. I want to know how that affects them, and I'm going to look into it. But if the employee does not pay taxes on the overtime, does the employer pay taxes on the amount paid out? I want to know what that is. Does it alleviate? Does it reduce? I want to know if that changes at all. That's just something I want to look into. And if you know the answer, feel free to comment and let me know what that looks like.
I'm curious if you are a Trump hater. Are you going to be upset to take advantage?
Right. No, pay taxes on it.
I mean, you can always still give the money back. Just when you fill out that box, just have the extra money taken out. Because listen, you don't support that policy. You can always give that money back or donate it to a worthy cause.
The homeless.
Yeah.
There you go. The other thing before we get to the most emotional moment of the night was deep fake laws and AI regulations. I know that, some people feel like they don't have to really worry about it, but when someone clones your image, likeness, name, all that fun stuff, and they use AI to do it, Trump introduced the Takedown Act to fight online
Oh,
misinformation.
yeah.
Now it was funny how he said, I'm one of them. Like he talked about how he has been, well, he didn't talk about it, but he was pointing himself out. But this is important for our children, our women, and anyone that has been affected by this. But the last thing you want to deal with is someone spreading your image and saying that you did something you did not, or that you didn't do something that you did, and you can't even prove it. It is not you because of this deep fake. Now it's called deep fake because it is almost a four-dimensional representation of you. Four-dimensional meaning it looks like you, it sounds like you, it may even communicate like you. So the cadence, the voice, the sound, and the look. Okay, so that's why this is called a deep fake. And if it's not really you, then how do you prove that it's not really you? So if you keep all your documentation. When you delete text messages, that you kind of lose your any type of proof. So we are going to become data hogs or data hoarders. I very seldom throw away data. I have already been a data hoarder. So you may have to expand your hard drives. Get you an external hard drive, not the cloud, because that's not you. Okay, that's dependent on somebody else. Get you an external hard drive connected to your computer and download the things you need to download, including backing up your phone. Now, if you have I'm speculating how to handle this. Because of the Takedown Act, that means that it's against the law. In order to prove that it's a takedown necessity, you have to show that this needs to happen. So I know that some kids are running around with their protected status, and they may have, when I say protected status, you may have someone who is, let's say they are LGBTQ plus. Is there an I in there? I think somewhere. And they may have a liking for another student. And in having a liking for another student, they decide to spread false rumors that the other student is interested in them because they want to get their attention because they're kids. But that other kid is not in that headspace. And now you're trying to prove that this is not what you said, but they have other ways of proving that you said it because it's a deep fake, or it's a fake text, or a modified text, or a modified image of you. That child that is affected might not want to be here anymore. And that's why this is important, to utilize and take full advantage of this Takedown Act.
Hmm. I agree with that.
All right. I'm sorry. So let's lighten the load. I've already heard some criticism on how Trump honored and made 13-year-old cancer fighter DJ Daniel an honorary Secret Service agent. The House erupted, chanting, DJ, DJ, DJ. How can that be disgusting to you, Rachel Maddow? How? She says that he was exploited. How was he exploited? Because he's a cancer survivor? Let me just tell you this. He was told that was he 13?
I think he, yeah, 13.
Okay. He was told that he wouldn't make it past, what, 5?
Right.
And, yeah. But he's 13. Okay, that's a victory in itself. He has brain cancer. I'm going to say he had brain cancer. Okay. We're going to pray for him. We're going to pray for him. I hope you do too. But if you ever watched Make-A-Wish Foundation, those children are terminally ill, and whatever their wish is, they get it in hopes that it will lighten the load of what they've been fighting. How dare you, Rachel Maddow, say that was inappropriate, disgusting? How dare you even mention anything other than beautiful? When we're talking about kids, I'm done. You don't mess with the kid. That kid was everlasting happy.
Hmm. I think sometimes when, you know, I think people get upset when they didn't do the right thing and someone else get praised for doing the right thing.
Even the Democrats
Yeah,
didn't
they
they didn't show them clapping. I'll tell you that.
done did so many wrong things that it's probably just good that they just sat there and wallowed in their misery.
Mm.
I mean, and I think that, I truly believe that some people they get upset when someone else gets a chance to do the right thing and they realize that they have to take a look at the man in the mirror and they realize that they were the person that had the opportunity to do the right thing, but they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they get upset and, have a temper tantrum when someone else does the right thing and they get praised for it and they know it's the right. Look, you know what? Everyone, when you do the wrong thing, when you do something that's wrong, you know it. And I don't know, maybe in their case, they don't know it. I don't know. I'm not even going to say. Maybe they don't know that they're doing the wrong thing.
Right.
Well,
I just want to keep the glory going for DJ.
Let's keep the
now
glory
I
going
did
for
not
DJ.
like how he did not mention the boy's father's name. He
Yeah.
said him and his dad. Everybody else, he knew their name, their birth date, their social security number. He did not mention DJ's father's name. So all the publications that you read, at least the ones that I found, it only says DJ and his father. We don't know his name. He was there with his white cowboy hat and his flagged up jacket. He was so proud of his son. And I think that was a missed opportunity to give him his flowers for fighting this fight with his son. Because while his son is undergoing procedures to fight for his life, he's undergoing prayer, hope, and misery. Because I know from talking to my own mother how hard it is to watch your child go under the knife. So shout out to my mother for going through what I went through when I had surgeries, okay, and being a sickly kid. So this guy, the father of DJ, my hat goes off to you. We're going to figure out what your name is. We'll find it, Mr. Daniel.
We celebrate you, brother.
Yes.
We praise fatherhood.
Yeah, for sure. So here's the thing. I know that you guys, we like I said, it's been an hour. Normally we get off of here sooner. We just had to catch up with you. The next time you tune into us, it's not going to be that long. But I want to make sure that you understand that we will be back on a regular basis and we will have your participation because you can always call us at the number while we're live. You can call 312-357-5141. The name of this show is Relationshipping, and it consists of LaDonna, Raeh, and Lorenzo T. Hughes. Now, you can catch me tomorrow on WVON 1690 on iHeartRadio as well, because I'm filling in for the Jesse Jackson Jr. show along with Atiba Buchanan. Shout out to him. And you can catch me on Saturday with Mr. Larry Ivory for the Wake Up Show Chicago, where Lorenzo T. Hughes is the assistant producer. So, we're constantly involved in the media, in the community, in what's right for business and what's right for family. And I want to just let you guys know, and I know Lorenzo can speak for himself, Lorenzo. I know you can. But congratulations to you on becoming on your first co-star role, number one. Number two, on Chicago Fire.
Thank you.
Yes. Where's my applause?
Had an amazing time. So it'll be my television debut on Chicago Fire. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. So you're writing and getting some stuff in the hopper yourself.
We got some stuff on the plate.
Yeah, you were just we went to a what was it, a film screening?
Oh, yes.
A short film screening. Brian Stanley and Victor Gully.
I think we need to call him. Then he wants some more feedback. We were supposed to follow up with him, give him some more feedback.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we'll do that.
We'll do that.
Yeah, we'll do that after the show.
But it was a beautiful screening. So Brian Stanley is actually, he is taking part. amping up his education in film. And we were able to participate in his project. It was myself, Lorenzo, and my son Logan and Liam, because Logan played Jeremy. I forgot what my name was. Was it just Mom? No. Anyway,
Mom and Dad.
right. It was so funny because we were playing Mom and Dad, and Liam was the boom operator, so he held the mic and he did a really good job. But Logan did a good job in acting, and he got a chance to sit behind the wheel of a car in this short film. So, just be on the lookout. I'll ask Brian if we
Be
can.
able to go outside every day now.
Right. He's like, we're going to be outside now. I'm like, aren't you outside anyway? But okay. So
car ain't stopping that.
It was cool. It was so cool.
It was
but
fun.
Leon was there. The actor Leon was there.
Yep, got a chance to, speak with Leon, and it was great meeting him. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Beautiful.
It was great.
It's beautiful.
It was really great.
5 heartbeats.
Yep. I had about 5 heartbeats.
Oh my gosh.
What? I took a pic. I met Leon 30 years ago, and we took a picture together, and I still have that picture. I should be showing it. I'm rusty.
What are you doing over?
I know I'm rusty.
Over there?
I know I'm rusty, but yeah, but I got another picture with him. He looks the same. I look different. But yeah, I had a crush on Leon when I was 30 years ago. I did. Yeah, for about 10 years. But who else was there? We had some panelists, and all the different filmmakers were there. And you just wrapped with A Fall from Royalty, the Richard Gallion production, rather.
Fall from Royalty, yes. Amazing production. It's beautiful when you can work with amazing professionals in the industry. When I say amazing and professional, I mean people who strive for proficiency in their work, because they even push you to a level of professionalism and proficiency in your own work. So it was great, and it was an amazing experience.
Well, not only that, it got me in the gym, because all the dancing. I saw the play 3 times. The first time I saw it, I was supporting you, right? The second time, I wanted to just see it again. The third time, I had to take the kids. It was that dope.
It was good.
Yeah, it was that. It was probably one of the best productions I've seen on stage at that level. And you yourself said that it should be what?
What's that?
You said that the way that this play was performed and the set construction, you said that was on a level of what, equity?
It was on the level of equity performance that you would see. Not that it was an unprofessional show, but on that level of equity performances. Where I could see it being under a equity contract. So yeah, it was that good.
Wow. Well, I did enjoy it, and I'm gonna be like, those drums just make you want to jump out of your seat. So I'm grateful that I got a chance to see that. And then you did something else recently. I feel like there was something else. You're always doing something.
Yeah,
with film, television,
and then
something.
we had the table read, and everything. So
what was that for?
And that was not desperate. Daddy's Girl.
No,
I think it was the stage play Daddy's Girl.
No, that wasn't Daddy's Girl. That was wait a minute, let me get it right. She's Not My Sister.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
She's Not My Sister. Oh, yes, you're right.
I know.
You're right.
No, I'm right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
What else was there? Is there anything else? We had so much going on. For those of you who missed us, Unfortunately, I had like 4 deaths in the family.
Yeah.
I mean, the start for 2025 for me was, it was unimaginable. 4 deaths, so it was dealing with that. So, and then dealing with the stage play and dealing with the self tapes that was coming in from my agent and my manager. Um, the rehearsals of the play and then the performances of the play. So yeah, we just had a lot going on. So it's not that we forgot about you guys, but life keeps life and
Life was lifing.
yes, yes.
Okay,
So,
I found the picture. I found the picture.
Oh, you found the picture.
Yes, I found the picture. Where'd it go? Darn it, something went over it. Here we go. Oh, wait, there it is. That's you. I'm going to make it where everybody can see it. This is where you need a producer.
And like I said, we're always out trying to. One
There
of
it
the things
is.
you'll
It's
find
on the
out with
screen.
us
It's
is
on the
that,
screen.
is we're always out trying to network and collaborate. And we try to encourage people to do that, to network and collaborate. And that's how we build relationships with each other, and how we build nations. We should be trying to build a nation with one another. So we're constantly trying to meet and develop relationships. You got it up there?
I do. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
The picture, you can't see it?
I can't see it.
Oh, that's too bad.
I know. As long as the audience can see it.
You can go to
Yes.
YouTube. All you got to do is go to YouTube and search for the relationship show.
You guys go ahead, take a look at it, and that's just some of the things, the many things that we try to stay involved in. I think there's a couple other events going on. Like 2025 is starting out
busy.
Good. So it's starting out pretty busy.
Yeah. So if let me see. Well, yeah, there's a lot. Just stay tuned. Make sure you follow us. Follow Lorenzo T. Hughes. Are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram. You if you just Google my name, it'll take you to my Instagram, my Facebook, my IMDb, and whatever else.
Make sure you go to the right one, though.
Yeah, you'll see a guy in a red shirt, black tie, and everything. You'll see this face here.
Yeah, that face right there.
The other Lorenzo T. Hughes is like, he's darker than me. So go to the caramel one, the butterscotch. Jesus. Lorenzo T. Hughes.
Oh my gosh. Really? That's what we doing?
We're gonna go to the butterscotch colored one.
Okay. Well, you know what? I was the voice of the HBCU Brilliance Effect on WVON.
Yes.
That was fun. And now I'm one of the voices of Women's History Month.
And you're doing something with Vaughn TV, aren't you?
I am. I'm waiting on them to call me back on Friday to let me know how my presentation went. Yeah, I'm excited.
So again, that networking, sometimes you never know. Let me say this, and I'm going to try to repeat this. You guys, we have at our fingertips the World Wide Web.
Ooh,
I remember when it first was introducing this thing, this www.
No, just three W's.
The www.com thing, this World Wide Web, trying to learn this thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're still not using it to our highest advantage. You have access to so many different people. You're able to network across the divided states of America. So you're able to go across these borders. Like, I know, literally, I think borders are like prisons to people. I know people who have never left the state that they live in. So you have access to cross the oceans with this World Wide Web and develop relationships. I have a whole African relationship of filmmakers that I communicate with and share videos and comment on videos. And we've never met before, but we communicate via the World Wide Web. And what I'm saying is that, even though the city of Chicago we're in the same landmass here, you can tune in to these shows. You literally can tune in and support other organizations
Mm.
So when we talk about supporting each other, and you're like, well, what can I do? I live in Nebraska, or I live in Missouri, or whatever. Wherever you're, I'm in California, I'm in Maine, or whatever. You still can support good causes or support people who are trying to grow or trying to provide you education and valuable content. So I would still encourage you to support these organizations. You can always send a donation, even if it's $1 or whatever. But every little bit helps, and just tuning in and sharing the information with someone else. So I would just say tune in, see if it's something that you like. If you don't like it, don't watch it, but share it with someone and see if they have content that they like.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Well, I think we've been on here long enough. I think we've caught up with everything just about. If Tell us what you thought about the Trump address last night. And if you didn't watch it, go ahead and watch it just so that you're informed. Okay? It's not a
Hmm.
matter of, oh, I don't want to watch. You're not going to turn into Trump if you watch it, but just watch it. There were some things that, I didn't agree with, but I didn't really want to highlight that tonight. I wanted to talk about how there are some things that I do agree with, and that can help us benefit and pivot, and we can go up from here.
Yes,
Okay,
indeed. Yes, indeed.
yeah. So don't say, "Oh, there's no hope. Oh, we're doomed." Don't do that. What you can do is say, "How do we leverage this?" While they're looking at the smoke and mirrors over there, what are you doing over here? Right? You getting your village together? I hope so.
Mhm.
That's all I got. Well, you've been watching the Loretta. You've been watching. I'm on too many shows. I'm about to say the wrong show. You're on relationshiping with LaDonna Raeh.
Lorenzo T. Hughes.
And it's time to get you out of here. Share with your friends and make a comment. All right. Bye bye for now.